All right, today, as promised, I plan on trying to run this engine on my stand. But before I can, I have to make some modifications to this thing. Not the engine, but the stand. I've made provisions quite some time ago um, to mount an MSD box, and I need to mount a coil, and I might actually modify the gauge setup here a little bit, but for the most part, I just need to get it set up to where I can run engines that have different type of distributors, or especially MSD or crank triggers or what have you. But today my plan is to try to get this thing all buttoned up, get the carburetor, distributor in it, get the plug wires, headers. Also on this one, I'm going to have to make some improvisions for the electric water pump so I can run it. Anyway, so we'll see how this goes. This will be the first startup on this new engine. Hopefully, I'm going to film it. Hopefully, I'll have good luck on the first startup. So sit back and watch, and we'll see what we can do. Might as well get started. I messed up. I forgot to get my MSD box from the house, so it's all right. I got plenty to do to get it ready to start. So we won't let that stop us. And for those of you that haven't watched the build videos, or maybe I haven't put them together and put them up yet. This is a 383 that I've put together for a guy. I built the bottom end for a machine shop several months ago and listed the block, the short block minus camshaft, for sale, and then the guy that bought it, he wanted it built fully assembled, and he wanted it, he's going to be putting it on a, I don't know, 62, 63 Chevy Nova station wagon, which is going to be a pretty cool car. So I went through, and it's got AFR heads on it. It is a 4-bolt main. It's the bottom end's been balanced. It's got ARP rod bolts. The mains are stock bolts. It does have a new cast crank. It is 3.75 inch strokes, bored 30 over. It's got a fairly decent comp cam. I want to say it's a 540, 520 lift. It's on a 110 center line, I believe, which I said earlier. It's the same cam that I'm running in my blue car. So he's got some, I think these are 200cc AFR heads, matching intake. I've got an MSD distributor that I'm going to put in it, but I'm getting ready to hook up my oil pressure sending unit, or the oil pressure gauge, and then I'll pre-prime the engine. I've already kind of done a dry run, setting the rocker arms and all that good stuff. So anyway, I think I'm gonna drop the carburetor on it. Actually, I'm not gonna put the carburetor on it just yet. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get my drill set up and get my oil pressure going. That'll be the first thing. It's going to be kind of slow. We'll see how this goes. I may have to condense this video and keep it from getting too long. That's a 160-degree thermostat. Should be plenty just to run this thing. Some of this stuff that I have laid out is stuff that I use all the time. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I've got a toolbox, a small toolbox, tool cart sitting over there that I keep the biggest majority of these components in that box. That way it's all together, and then pretty much just wheel it wherever I need to go. Wheel it wherever it needs to go to get everything set up. And this run stand is mostly built and designed just to be put small block Chevys on. I have had a few big blocks on it before. It does get a little bit tight. It gets a little tight up here on the radiator. You have to be kind of cautious, make sure you don't run the water pump into the fan. I always put the cart before the horse on this deal as well. So I have ran a few engines on this stand. It's homemade. I built it years ago, and I was planning on just using it for one engine, but then the way things kind of fell together, that my shop kind of evolved, and I've put a lot of engines together and ran it on this stand for people, so, which is a nice plus. You break your cams in and get everything somewhat set up and get it ready for the engine. So. Well, it tightened up. Maybe we'll go. That plug's in it. I'm going to have to put a little bit more oil in it as well. Alright, that should be enough to get us going. I think there's about 5 quarts in it so far, so I'll check I gotta get a dipstick. That's another thing I forgot to put in this when I installed it or built it. Sure is pretty. Wouldn't be surprised. This thing should start up and run really well right out of the box. I'll not use this, but ATM Innovation is the carburetor. The guy that owns this, he bought the carburetor, so Starter's on. Get all my feed wires hooked up. I usually keep this starter laying around also for just this. Battery cables. I try to keep everything that I need rigged up just so I can do this. Keep all of this stuff separate. That way, whenever I'm ready, I've got everything available to me. I have a factory starter laying over here as well in case I get applications that won't let me run this mini starter. Had a slight interruption. Now I'm not even sure where I'm at, but let me, got number one piston up. I'm gonna lube this a little bit more. I believe that's good. Usually try to put the old distributor in here to where the rotor will point at number one. And then I'll hold a little bit of downward pressure to get the oil pump drive. We're going to bump it. I usually tell people if electricity jumps that far, you're in trouble. We're going to bump it over. I'm going to hold some downward pressure to keep this as long as the distributor turns, then we can get the oil pump shaft lined up within the bottom of the gear. A little snug. Alright, there is zero, and on this distributor I usually try to put the plug-in somewhat towards the back corner passenger side. And we're going to put the distributor hold down on, put a little snug on it. And it looks to me like number one was going to be right there. All right. Let me mark number one. We'll get this thing snug in. Yeah. Did I tell you? This thing's going to be loud. It's got some really nice ARP header bolts. Just looking at the header flanges, hopefully they're long enough. That's interesting. I think these are 2-inch primaries, and in order to run these, he's going to have adapters. So, backup plan. This is a trusty set of I bought these just for this run stand. These are the Summit brand set of headers. And they are for nothing but this. They'll work. Okay. Got those finger tied. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is gap the spark plugs and probably start running the plug wires. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to dig up an MSD box and a coil. I get them mounted, and I'm going to have to change up my fuel line because the run stand is equipped with an electric fuel pump, but the difference is I have a 3/8 line, or even to adapt to an AN, I'm going to have to figure out a way to adapt to his carburetor line, which in this case is an 8, which the pump that I have is a Holly Blue pump, I believe, and it will run, it'll give it enough, especially on the run stand. But anyway, I've got some stuff that I got to chase down, and we'll see if we can get everything gathered up and make it run.